Right then, so we're out in my filter shed and I'm going to start mixing up this. Me worrying about it. As you can see, I got an order from Burton's, a few cool little gadgets. My shower actually overlips the pond, roughly around 3 or 4 inches. Debating whether to put it on the floor or underneath the shower. So I've got all the bits and pieces in there to have a play with. Pushing it all down this way. I think it works amazingly. Make sure that your biological media, let's just crack on the phone to Andrew. So I've got the old Makita out. I'll see what I can come up with. Thank your mother for the rabbits. Dot them around the garden. But it'll be interesting with me using this with a brand new pond. Hello everyone, welcome back. James the Koi Whisperer. So as you can see, I got an order from Burton's. I'm going to open it up and show you what I got. Right then, so a lot of you know I recently paid a visit to Burton's. While I was up there, I did see a few cool little gadgets what I thought will be absolutely amazing for me to try and test out. To start with, I want to run you through their air diffuser. 1 meter in length. It's a new design. You can pretty much customize it to any size you like. There's different sizes they've got available. I like the way that it all gets put together. One thing I really liked about it was how clean and tidy that it is. The screw threads, obviously at Burton's, they've got the machinery to make all of this stuff themselves. So I believe it's a stainless steel bar inside of here. Obviously they make all of this stuff with the CNC machines, and while I was up there I thought it just looked something right up my street. I'm planning to put this underneath my shower filter at the back. I do like the fact of how it goes together, nice, neat and tidy. And what a lot of you know, that this pond that I've just recently built, as you look through the pond you can see the bottom air disc down there, and that there's running off the bottom drain, and I have that running super low for the pure fact I don't like all of the disturbance on top of the pond, but I do believe there's not quite enough air going into the pond, especially this time of year. So what the plan is, I've got the 1 meter air diffuser from Burton's, and the plan is to sit it directly behind the back of the shower filter. Ideally I can sit it right on the bottom of the floor. I can pump all of the oxygen into the pond. I've got to try it out and test it to see how it runs, but that's where I'm planning to fit it. And I think the way I built this pond, I've got plenty of room in behind the back. As you can see down here, my shower actually overlips the pond, roughly around 3 or 4 inches. So the air diffuser sat on the bottom of the pond will work an absolute treat. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but it's definitely worth me having a go, because it does look pretty cool seeing the air come up from the middle of the pond, but I do think it will look even better seeing the air come from the back of the pond, even though you can see my reflection at the moment. Sort of understand where I want it along the back of the pond. I reckon it will work the absolute hammer. So I'll get all that hooked up and we'll test it out. But before we test it out, as a lot of you know, when you're first starting up a brand new pond like mine, you got to go through the cycle, the nitrogen cycle. Feeding it with beneficial bacteria can be super expensive, and it can work out that you need to use quite a lot to make sure that your biological media starts developing, and then it will start looking after itself. But it does take a fair time before you build up enough beneficial bacteria in your biological chamber to make sure that it looks after itself. So to do that, my plans are to grow my own, and this is a kit that you can do that yourself. So you can basically grow and develop your own beneficial bacteria. I'll open up the box and we'll check out what you get inside of it. I ain't really sure where the English is. Where's the English? There. That's there what I got to read. That's what it does. Let me open it up and we'll go from there. Right, so inside of the box or the kit, what you get beneficial bacteria that hasn't developed yet. This is the pre-mix by the looks of it. I'll have to have a little read because I'm opening it brand new. Not the best at reading, but I've got an idea what you got to do. You also get a funky looking plug. The reason being it's got one of these connections on it, so the plug just locks inside. I'll do that in a minute. And this thing here reminds me of when I had the kids, when I was cleaning out the milk bottles every single day. What it does, it looks like it harbours the beneficial bacteria, makes it grow and develop. So what I got to do is have a little read through the instructions, because on the back of the box it basically comes in all yibbity yabbada jibbity jabbada, but inside the manual is all English, tells you step by step what to do, wash hands before and after use, blah de blah de blah. Let me get it all put together, let me work out what I need to do, and hopefully explain to you what you need to do, and we'll see how it develops over the next 24 hours. It's a 24-hour process, and then you can make your own beneficial bacteria without buying any of the beneficial bacteria in the little tubs. And you know by doing it yourself that it's live and it's fresh and it's going into your pond. So yeah, as said, I'm not the best at reading and I'm not the best explaining, because it's pretty simple, but when you're dyslexic, trying to read all this yibbity yabbada, it's a bit like, well. So we're out in my filter shed and I'm going to start mixing up this. Me worrying about it, it's super easy, not going to lie. That's the instructions step by step. If anyone wants to screenshot now and have a read through yourself, just screenshot your phone or your computer, press pause, whatever you're doing, have a little read. But basically what you got to do is half fill this. Everything you see comes supplied in this kit, apart from my lukewarm water that comes from my tap, and this comes from Mrs. Whisperer's cooking cupboard. She's going to see the video and think I'm not making no gravy for roast dinner in this container anymore, but I'm only using the water. So that being said, all you need to do is dig your spoon out. One of these spoons is 25 ml scoop. Add that into the bottom of the mix, put that back, and if you're doing it with two hands, put this straight back on and do it up, but we're not. So what it says for you to do in the instructions is to add 500 mils of water, and I do like this container because it's all marked and measured where you need to go, and I don't think you need to be bang on. As long as the water's lukewarm, just fill it up halfway. The full container is the full capacity, as long as I've understood it right. And the reason why you fill it up halfway, this spoon comes supplied with the kit, and it does live nice and neat as well. I'll show you that in a minute. It lives on the lid, but literally just give it a good mix up, it says, before you add all of the water. I suppose that there's to stop it from spilling when you're mixing it up, and it does say wash hands before use and afterwards. I suppose being live beneficial bacteria, when it brews up, I suppose it could be what colour you're seeing there is if you get it into your mouth for any reason, you might end up seeing the same colour in the toilet. That being said, I do think this is an amazing idea. So I've given it a good stir up. I like the fact if I'm making my own beneficial bacteria, which I can add to the pond whenever I need it. As long as I keep this stuff in stock, I don't have to rely on ever running out. I can literally, if I get an ammonia spike or anything wrong with my water quality, I can literally just add this until sort of the filters sort of take care of themselves. Especially with a new pond, I think this is an absolute amazing idea. It does say to add it up to the 1000 ml, so it's a little bit more. And then what it says for you to do, it says to put this inside of here using two hands. It's got little two sections either side, so you can lower it into it nice and easy. And then what it says for you to do on the instructions, after it's filled up, give it a good stir. Make sure it's all been stirred well. That's what it tells you to do. Take your spoon out. So then you put the lid on. Then you close it with the locking spoon down the side there. So the spoon's on. That locks it into place. Then it tells you to pour warm water between the white cup and the bacteria activator. Pour the water down through here. I'm not sure how much I need to put down here. I suppose this is like warming up the baby milk bottles when you have kids and you're just warming up a milk bottle. After the water's put in, then it tells you to put the lid on, lock the lid on, flip the switch, and now she's on. All it tells you to do now, leave the bacteria on for 1 day, 24 hours, and allow the mix to activate. Do not stir in between. So basically, that's it. 24 hours, and I'll check it out to see what it looks like tomorrow. But super impressed with it. Hopefully it works. I reckon it's going to work. I'm going to get the bits and pieces cleaned up, go and wash my hands, wash my phone, because I've used both hands. Let's continue with this video. But I reckon this is a cracking idea. I can't tell you how good it is yet, because I haven't tested it yet. But it'll be interesting with me using this with a brand new pond. I think it's going to be the absolute hammer. Right, so while that's brewing up, that's all going. What I'm going to do, while the sun's shining, Mrs. Whisperer wants me to have a play around, fit this on her new pond. So I'll see what I can come up with. What I'm thinking is to run it right across the top here, stretch it right out so you can still see all of the mechanics and access everything which is running this new pond. But I'm thinking it will look quite nice to strip all the way across there. So I'll see if it will stretch long enough, and I'll see how I can fix it up to the best that I possibly can. So I got the old Makita out, I got myself some impact screws, I got myself some cable ties. So there we have it. Mrs. Whisperer is certainly going to have to buy a few more if she wants me to fill it down a little bit lower. So all I did was screwed it up, I stretched it as far as I possibly could, cable tied the ends in the middle together just to make sure that it doesn't open up, to get it as long as I possibly could, to be fair with you. Looking from the inside of the pond, basically what she's going to have to do is repaint that bit because the wood split a little bit and she didn't quite get enough paint in there. And there, she missed loads of it and she whinged at me the other day for painting. Where you can see it here, it finishes directly in line with the pond here. So what she could do is we could actually get rid of this post here, put a new post on the pond, go in directly up to that point. If she wanted to, get 3 or 4 more of them to bring the height down, just so she sort of has it up to here, so she's still got plenty of sunlight in here. See what the boss says and we'll get back to you. But she might want to add a few more. It does look pretty cool. I wanted to show you a different angle as well, but as you can see, the sun on the side of the house. Cleaned up all the guttering the other day as well. Got right on top of the roof, give it all a good polish up. Happy days. That being said, I need to fit the airline next. What I'm planning to do is fit it right underneath here, but I've just disturbed the koi, so they're a little bit spooky at the moment. And I've still got a load of these little offcut bits left. Make myself a few more little bits to pop round the garden in certain places just to hide a few things. So I've got the airline out, 1 metre in length. I really do like it. I like the stainless steel connection, but what I've done, I've unthreaded the stainless steel connection. I've put a John Guest fitting on it, 12mm, because I like using all of the John Guest fittings because it makes it nice, neat and tidy for me. I'm going to tee off this air pump, get this air line sat underneath the back of the shower. I'm debating whether to put it on the floor or underneath the shower, but to start with, I'll cut it so it fits underneath the shower. Run the air line up through here, tee it round and connect it to here somehow. So I've got all the bits and pieces in there to have a play with. All 12mm John Guest fittings. You can get these absolutely anywhere. I've got 12mm John Guest pipe as well, the black pipe. So I'm going to have a play around with this and see what I can come up with. I do like the fact of how these sit dead flat on the floor, this air bar does. And then obviously run straight up. It will go straight along the back of the pond. I'm going to put a T-piece on the bit that runs up underneath the shower just because I'm not sure if I'm going to run it this side or this side. The best way of me getting the airline out to see how it looks on the pond. I'm going to drop this into the pond now and then we'll see what it looks like when it's in there. It's really hard for you to see because I've got it sat at the back of the pond. It is really hard and difficult for you to see, but it is working amazingly. You can see by me putting it in there, it's stirred up a lot of the muck which was sitting around the pond before it gets sucked down the bottom drain. I need to tidy up the pipe work because my first initial idea didn't really work very well. But what you can see with that, stirring up all of the water from the bottom edge and it's pushing it all down this way, so the skimmer will start working better. But what it does do, it does disturb the top of the pond that little bit. It's pushing it down this way, but what it will do will make the fish swim against the current. It will just be more beneficial for the pond if I decide to keep it in there. But temporary, I've just ran it across here because I'm not 100% how I'm going to keep it in place, how I'm going to keep it there. But I'm really happy with how it's performing. I mean, if I turn the air to the bio off, like so, and start pumping 80 litres of air through it, I mean, look at the rapids coming off of this now. It really is amazing. On bigger ponds, I think it will work better. I think with the size pond that I've got, I can just fine tune it. But I mean, that is creating one hell of a lot of oxygen. Any of that protein build up is coming straight down here into the skimmer line, just getting sucked in You see it just all getting sucked in the skimmer line here. It's going to work amazingly, but obviously I'm not going to have that much air in here. The fish really don't know what's going on, to be fair, bless them. I don't want to stress them out too much, but it works and I'm happy with it. I just need to tinker around to get it how I want it. Get all of the pipe work sat in situ a little bit better, but I need a little bit more time to do that. I'm super happy with the product. I think it works amazingly. I'll just tidy up the pipe work, get it sat in behind the back, and what I can do, if I ever decide just to put the bottom drain back on, I can connect it back to this and adjust this valve a little bit better. And if I want to just run it flat out, I can run my pipe round the back and have two lines there. But what I'm thinking, I've got to take all this off. I've got to take this off. I'll run the air line underneath this fitting, because what I did, I haven't actually filled these gaps with silicone yet. And that gap, I made sure there's a 12mm gap all the way back through the actual coping stones. That allows me to put wires, cables, air lines, anything through the pond so it's not visible. But check that out, that is creating one hell of a storm down there. Let me get you the front picture of it. I do apologise about actually seeing it, but you can see how well that's working. Super impressed with it. I think, well, hands down, quality, absolutely quality product. Super happy with that. Anyone interested, get hold of Burtons or check them out on their website. Andrew at Burtons, more than happy to help you out. And I do believe Burtons supply most of this stuff to a lot of koi dealers as well. So any of your local koi dealer that sells a drum filter, contact them and they'll be able to hook you up with one of these airlines. And I think they go as long and short as you like. I think the shortest is one section, which is 50 cm. I'm not sure totally on that, but I've got a metre one here, obviously two connections screwed together with that little T-piece running off the airline. Happy days. Check that out though. Look at all the muck that it's stirring up. Everything's getting sucked right into that skimmer, look. Happy days. Right, let's move on with the next thing. Thank your mother for the rabbits. So while I'm here, if anyone ever buys any of these fencing, pick the ones with the good quality plastic. But if you ever cut them, like I did, you get a load of bits left over. What you can do, get yourself a stainless steel screw, start by threading them on like this, and then what you can end up with is a big bunch like this. And then what you can do with situations like this, if you've got a little spot in your corner which you just want to cover up, because your wife does a bit of dodgy painting and gets it all over your plug sockets, whack one of them in there like that, and it just makes it look a little bit better. That's what you call the absolute hammer. So I'm going to make a load of these up, dot them around the garden, fill a few gaps in, and make them look the hammer. Like that. So I've put one up there, I put two up there, and I put two up there. Looking the absolute hammer. Just gives it that little bit more of a feature. Hopefully Mrs. Whisperer likes it. To be fair, it's using them up as well. Just as well use them if I paid for them. I think it looks cool. Yeah, I'm just chilling here, editing some films, and thought I'd best end this film because else I'll start yibbity-yabbiting on for the next hour or so. It will be really interesting for me to see the results from this beneficial bacteria that I'm making or brewing up or whatever it's doing out there. But it is really simple to use. I'm super impressed with the airline. This weekend when I got a little bit more time, what I'm going to do is have the cover off, make sure Mrs. Whisperer is happy that I've got it sat in the right place. Obviously connect the cables up a little bit better, but the product itself works amazingly. You saw in this video how well it was working. It stirred up the pond amazingly. And then tomorrow morning, after this is brewed up, I'm going to test it out and I'll let you guys know how I get on. Right then, so it's been 24 hours and I'm going to add this to the pond. Flip the switch. And I'm interested to see what it looks like, or what it is. So there we have it. It's all mixed up. So I'm going to take this out and get it across to the filter now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the pump off. The reason why I've turned the pump off by adding this beneficial bacteria is that it gives it a little bit of time, a little bit of dwell time inside the filter. One thing else that I'm going to do before I add the rest, I'm going to turn the UV off, and I can do that on my phone because I've got an app for it. So the UV's turned off, even though it automatically turns off when I lift this lid up for this drum filter, but the UV's actually going to be turned off for the next couple of days, because adding any treatments, and especially beneficial bacteria, you don't want to kill your beneficial bacteria with a UV sterilizer bulb. So this will give it a little bit of dwell time, and for what I've mixed up here is well too much, but you can't really overdose this stuff. I know it does say in the instructions that this treats 10,000 litres, and basically it's best to use it what you need, mix up what you need. So the next time that I do it, I'm actually going to mix up a smaller amount, just because I don't think I need to mix up quite as much, and I'll rather like add it on a regular basis once every 3 or 4 days, especially with a new pond, than what I would put everything in. But for how much of this I've got to start with, it's not going to hurt a brand new pond. Keeping the pump off for around 10 minutes will certainly help all of that beneficial bacteria stick and colonise to the media that I've got in there from Mountain Tree. It will certainly help. I'm just going to leave that now for 10 minutes, leave the UV off for 2-3 days, and yeah, we'll see how we get on until I turn the pump off, because the fish think, what's going on now? So yeah, super impressed with this product, super impressed with the quality, and making my own beneficial bacteria. I can pretty much now, if I want to, go and put on another lot brewing, so I can add another lot tomorrow evening, and it doesn't cost me any more money apart from the electric to run it. What I've got will last me ages. So yeah, super happy with this product. And what I've got up there, I've always ever used the filter bugs in the back, but I do run out of them, and sometimes when you desperately need it and you need to knock some of this stuff up now, I can basically knock this up in no time at all, and it treats 200,000 litres. To be fair with you, it's going to last me ages, and I do believe they sell a bigger tub, but I think this size is what I need, starting off the beginning of koi seasons, just until you can get your biological media mature. A pond that's already up and running and the media itself is mature enough, you don't really need to add it. Not that you have to add it, but what I'm trying to say is that a pond that's stable, media is developed enough, it looks after itself when it's got that lovely browny tinge to it. You know the beneficial build up on that media is good anyway. But a brand new pond like what we've got here, you definitely need to add quite a lot of beneficial bacteria, just to make sure that in your filter system that it becomes developed. It does take a bit of time, but it always gets there in the end. It takes a bit of time just to develop, and if you can give it a little bit of a helping hand, that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to do that every 3 days, but I'm going to do it on a smaller amount. So it's been well over 10 minutes. Fire back the pump, get the system running again. That there will automatically pump any beneficial bacteria straight over the shower as well, so that there gets the first sort of hit of what comes out, so that there will sort of submerge, and then it's just a constant cycle. But having these new koi, they are really scattish at the moment. They're a little bit spooky until they settle in. When they get big lumps like this over here, I can pretty much feed these fish with a spoon. They'll literally eat off of a spoon. But when they're smaller, they are a little bit scattish. But keeping an eye on my water quality, helping the beneficial bacteria in this drum and in this shower filter, it will definitely help out with new pond syndrome. And if I can just keep adding it, keep the water quality as good as I can, that looks after the fish. But starting up any new pond, beneficial bacteria is something that is needed, and it will give you a lot of less hassle than trying to chase your tails on numbers with ammonia spikes. Just help the nitrogen cycle a million times faster than what it will if you do nothing whatsoever. Massive thank you to Burtons for sending it out to me. Thank you all for watching this video, and if I don't see you in a week, I'll see you for a window. Thank your mother for watching this video. Happy days, and I'll see you all soon.